passing of the baton. Yeah, well, for our next panel, actually, I'll invite everyone up here for the panel as well, so we can get settled, our waters changed, and so forth. For our next panel, it's going to be a bit more digging deep into the data, a lot more about the megadata stuff that we've been talking about in bits and pieces throughout today. And here, please just come sit down. I can sort you into your proper positions. Or actually, I think this is because this is a German thing. You're supposed to be sitting over here. It's all very. You're there. You're there. I have no idea why, but this is the way it's supposed to be. You're there. I'm here. There we go. So the official title of this, what is it? It's finding what I'm looking for: the quest for the perfect result. It's something that's actually very deep and dear to my heart because. For me, as a really voracious user of content, and I'm sure a lot of you here in this room are similar, the main problem I have is there's just too much out there, and most of it I do not care for. I don't. I'm of the opinion that 90% of everything creatively done is shit. Yeah, that's just the rule. Maybe 80%. Same with films, TV, music. In terms of my perspective, there's a small sliver that I want, and the rest I don't care for. I think this is a common user problem now. We no longer have the problem that we have too much or too little content for users. We have far too much. People need to find out what it is, what's out there that they could want, and how to get it quickly and easily when they want it and how they want it. On the reverse side, for companies, the problem is where are the people who want my stuff? There was this years ago now, the great talk of the long tail, that because users everywhere could digitally access anything, doesn't matter how small a group you had, you could easily sell it around the world. Hasn't really turned out that way because people can't find it, and you don't know where these people are who might like your little film or your TV show or your YouTube thing or whatever. So with our panel today, we're going to talk about how to find the stuff, what are the best tactics to use, both from the technological side and also from the sort of curated side. I'll introduce the panel and go through them a bit. A couple of them have a few sizzle reels to introduce their companies and so forth. We'll go through that as we come. Right next to me is Rhodes Mason of the Internet Video Archive, which is a master trailer cruncher and deliverer. I'll talk a bit about what the company does and how it does it. Next to him is Ingke Weimert, who's with the online publishing group is a correct term for Moviepilot, more or less. It's like it's Moviepilot, which you probably know since it's a big German company, essentially online magazine. I love the term still, but a magazine group, which can be considered a bit of a curated system, but uses a lot of deep metadata on its users to give them not just the news, but also the types of products, films, television, and so forth that they want and hopefully need. And next to her is Claudia Lindner of Tweek TV, which started out as a bit of a TiVo-style system, providing, when it first started, more of a consumer-oriented platform. Now it has shifted a bit, pivoted a bit to be much more a B2B company. We'll talk about that. But also a company that uses a lot of metadata, particularly from social media, to gather information about its users and give that information over to companies that might want to be delivering to it. And finally, our brain on a stick member of the panel, Dr. Harald from the HPI Institute around here in Potsdam, who's involved in metadata designing. If I can summarize this, it'll be incorrect because I'm not a scientist, but analyzing data and particularly video to find patterns, to be able to design systems, algorithms that can find content and the users, match them up, find ways to do it automatically, to either complement or replace certain types of systems like curated systems and so forth. Perhaps because I'm of the journalistic bent, I'll start with Ingke and with Moviepilot. It is a bit of a curated system, but it mixes both. And I know that you have a bit of a presentation. Maybe you can introduce it a bit, and then we can see it, and you can sort of take us through what Moviepilot is and what you do differently.
Okay. I would love to do that. So
yes,
we start this. Sure. It's about 1 minute and creation of slides. And
yeah, it's the Moviepilot tape.
Yeah.
Or not.
Oh. Yeah, since 2014 July, Moviepilot is within the Webedia group, and which is a digital entertainment publisher with 7 million unique users per month, and we consider the digital space to be at least three-dimensional, and a room to read and interact and watch. 3 ingredients, from our point of view, will lead to success and make also consumers happy: content, technology, and targeted advertisement. Moviepilot has developed tools to analyze data and understand the audience better, and we share this with the movie industry. And in this movie entertainment world of Webedia, we are not only on desktop, but also on mobile, Facebook, YouTube, and have many touch points with our users. Moviepilot became the leading film community by developing social expertise and being data-driven over the whole years. Yeah, so Moviepilot loves to and can give you recommendation for your content and movie and TV shows based on your individual taste. So this will actually help you to find the right movie to watch.
Yeah. The interesting, actually, quick question on just my personally. How would you get my person, because I'm a very unique, not a bragger or ever, just I happen to be in a unique position. I say, voracious consumer of content. I'm a foreigner living in a country whose media I'm not that interested in, unless it's the soccer team, the news, and that's about it. And there's certain films and TV, but it's the very sort of niche. The mainstream German media that's produced, that's popular with millions and millions of Germans, I dislike completely. They're comedians, most of them musicians and so forth. I'm sorry to say,
so
but that is the case. I don't.
don't.
I don't. So the vast majority of German consumers do not match up with my
right.
profile, except that we live next to each other and I can communicate with them. I'm not interested in seeing anything dubbed, which is the vast majority of German programming out there. And I hate being advertised to. Personally, I'm very protective of my own privacy, and I do not like recommendations unless they come directly from someone I trust. Mm-hmm. So, how? How would you get? How would you recommend something to me?
Yeah, that's actually the main idea. I think the founders of Moviepilot had exactly the target to give a room for that we both speak and we exchange information you want to give to me and I want to give to you from my free will, because I want to tell you about my taste, what I don't like and you and do like, as you just did, and build up a trusting situation for that. I could say, oh, well, I watched that movie last week and it was about this, that, and that. And you say, oh, cool, that sounds good. And I experience more your taste and say, well, I would recommend it. But you would probably ask me, what movies or TV shows do you like better and why not, and to explore my taste so that we can match. So that's how Moviepilot started, to build an online community, actually, to bring this conversation around the table or at the, we have a beer or wine together after a movie, online and digital. So what we did then is build up a tool, actually, then technology, where you are with your free will, put in those data and have as many choices as you can, but this had to be developed to say, this is something I like. We chose to rate movies on a scale between 0 and 10. And also choose this to say, well, this is something I don't like. So there is actually also a hate button. So please get that off my list. And then the technology comes in, the very deep one. We had developed algorithms with a certain logic so that we will see, okay, who's your next neighbor? Who are you really close to in this community? so that you both would probably fit, and this neighbor could recommend you movies. So that's actually where it started from. But then within these last 7 years, it widened, and we also feel that it is very important to also look at the engagements and the interactions about something to evaluate better your taste, actually.
Well, we're going to talk a bit about that, about how one does it and how one adjusts, but I'd like to get other people in here, maybe with Claudia. With Tweek, as I mentioned, the company has changed a bit and has pivoted a bit. I think we could take a look briefly at your at the sizzle reel you have. That's sort of the company as it was, and maybe then you can tell us how you've changed and why you shifted.
Yeah, sure.
But first, maybe we can play the sizzle reel from Tweek.
Collect what you like. Share what you find. Watch what you love. 'Cause today is only here and whenever you want. There's no point living a life that's full of regret. Wherever you want. Choices that you make can be revised. Tweek, the best way to discover TV and film.
Right. One question though: why aren't they drinking White Russians in that scene?
So it's a reference to the Big Lebowski.
Right.
Who's,
They should be drinking White Russians, but they're not. They're
they're
drinking
not
beer.
drinking.
They're drinking
yeah,
beer.
well, that's I think a Berlin
I'm
thing.
sorry, you need
know.
another producer for that video. They do bring the couch. They had it all going. They had the carpet, but they didn't have the White
Good
Russians.
point.
Discover stuff.
No, so this obviously would say, I compared it to TiVo, maybe was not a fair comparison, but it was, initially Tweek was an idea of gathering what you wanted and being able to watch it and share it and so forth within sort of your system. Now you've shifted a bit and are interacting much more directly with other businesses. Can you explain what you're doing now and why the shift was
Yeah,
made?
so as you already explained a bit, the company started more with this B2C approach and as a social discovery app for video content, like focusing on VOD content and with different resources, but also featuring an EPG guide. So heavily dependent on social interaction on Facebook and other platforms that write into the Facebook graph. And but you could also interact on the Tweek app itself, like liking something, putting something on your watch list, and share this with your friends. So the change came a bit like since we improved our recommendation system, we added also content-based recommendations, so not only social recommendations exclusively from social networks such as, well, mainly Facebook. We figured out that this actually is a valuable asset, and a lot of, since like recommendations is a big deal right now, other content providers are really interested in. I mean, Netflix is the perfect example. They are passing out recommendations, like really tailored and recommendations once you're logged in with your Facebook account, so using Facebook Connect. So this is something we're also attempting, and I think it's a big market. So a lot of people just ask for recommendations, but there's so many different kinds of recommendations, and I think social recommendations, what the community wants, or what the community likes, what my friends like, but also the personalization aspect, what I like myself, what I'm doing on the social networks is heavily important, and the importance thing is extremely increasing in the next few years.
And how much information of that sort of metadata are you getting from your users in terms of from what they're doing on your site or on your service, talking back and forth, and how much within that social community, and how much is it through data that you're peeling off of their Facebook accounts or what they're tweeting about and so forth? I'm saying, how much do you own, so to speak, or control, and how much are you dependent upon a Facebook, for example, which could change their regulations anytime and shut you out?
Yeah, I understand. So, like our engineers, for instance, they are specialized on dealing with the Facebook API, which is like undergoing constant changes. I think there are like smaller changes every 3 weeks, bigger changes every 2 months, and like major changes every 2 years. So we're, I think next year is like the Graph 2 starting, so we're already working with this one. So you have only limited access to your friends' interactions. So it's heavily based, what we get through our own application or like as an integration in the backend of our clients, of our partners, is heavily dependent on the permission a user passes on when logging in via Facebook Connect. So, I mean, while this is where we're currently very focused on video content, TV, VOD, movies, like theater releases. I mean, you can we're right now approaching more also connecting content worlds. So we're looking into music videos, music itself, everything that writes into the graph, connecting worlds and enhancing like the consumption experience for a user. So let's say you're a heavy fan of I don't know, Madonna, yeah. So why wouldn't you be interested in watching Evita, the musical?
Of course, all of Madonna's films are shit. I mean, her music can be good, but her films are pretty much all shit.
Sure.
That's just a fact. I'm sorry, it's not an offense.
Not you.
No, but that's a very small subset of
She
humanity.
had really good, like a few really good ones in the 80s. So who's that
No.
girl?
Desperately Seeking Susan. That's the
Yeah.
only one. She
That's
had
a classic.
one.
That's
That's
a
not a
classic.
couple. She had one. I'm sorry. That's not a discussion we can have here because it's been settled. But well, maybe I'm sorry. It's a very personal thing. I had to suffer through Madonna for years in the '80s when we had very little choice. Let me bring you in, Rhodes. You come from a bit from the other side. You're very much, if I could say so, sort of the nuts and bolts of a lot of this. You supplied for supplying the machinery or supplying the materials that go out into a lot of these services.
So we're a B2B company, and our primary focus is on the trailer content. So if you look at what are the main ingredients to any content search and discovery, which is really our sweet spot, is I need metadata. I need the description, the director, the cast. These are the things that will populate a title page. You're going to want key art so that I can find this thing on the shelf, or everybody has it. You'll see it on Moviepilot. You're going to also need the trailer, and there was a report by the Diffusion Group back in June 2013, and they looked at all the entertainment data that people use, and consumers came back with the #1 piece of entertainment data was the trailer. Surprise, great. The industry has known 100 years that trailers sell movies. So this whole phenomena of bringing trailers online, which we've been involved in 10 plus years, it's the fourth most popular content on the internet. So people are trying to discover content. You go to YouTube though, you watch that trailer, well, where do I go after that? And our clients are retailers and service providers and people deeply involved like Flixster, Rotten Tomatoes, or the New York Times in content rating and discovery. So they're trying to lead you back to the sale for the retailers. So that's where our friend who doesn't like ads, retailers don't do ads. They want you to watch the trailer, go buy the product. And of course that fits in all the studio strategy as well. But you have this ecosystem, and we fit into it by doing a thing, Kate likes this expression, data husbandry. So we're out there going to the Rovies and the TMS, now Gracenote, Baseline, the movie database, Freebase, all these databases we map to all the time. Somebody has a database they want us to map to, sure, we'll map to it. So I see Rovi ID equals 1, 2, 3, 4. Let me see the corresponding trailer. IVA has it, 5, 6, 7, 8. Let me see all the related content. And for the content creators out there, it's not just the movie trailer. If I'm interested in something, I want to see the movie trailer, and you'll speak to this. Featurettes, I want to see interviews. Are they reading anymore? I don't know. I think if you have all this content promotional, you build this excitement So we see the spike, because we can watch this user behavior across a huge network, and you see the spike prior to, let's say something's in a theatrical run, and that's where all the money is being spent, is let's get it up front, and then you see, I think the ad spend is, we're talking an industry, probably several billion a year. It's all up front in the theatrical, then a little bump in home video. But if they can sell it in theatrical, they're gonna ride it into home video. So right before opening date, you see a huge spike of usage. First looks, you'll see a big spike. So the Avengers trailer, Age of Ultron, as soon as that thing broke, and it broke early, we had it up online and went through the roof. On YouTube, it had over 50 million plays in 1 week. 50 million plays. That's an incredible amount of people watching a trailer in 1 week. It's probably over 100 million by today. So that trailer content, in a way, is helping studios sell in their movies, and you can get data about the engagement and what people are interested in. Prior, we published a chart that shows movies in a coming soon window, top 40 across our network. And this, you see the sleeper hits are coming up like, hey, I didn't think that thing would be that big. Hey, studio, you should do something. This movie could be big.
And it'd be interesting, because one, talk about specific companies, but maybe talk a bit more broadly about this idea, the main problem being that there's so much out there, and it's difficult to know what to get. Nobody really has the time to search for much anymore. You want it to be given to you, if possible, recommended to you. Why is it, with all the great technology we have, and perhaps Dr. Sack can speak to this as well, and all the incredible algorithms that are being developed, and all the great minds of the world working on these problems, why is it, from my personal experience, so bad? I never have gotten a recommendation that if I bought something online, a video, virtually never get something that fits to it. Okay. I get the same thing offered again in a slightly different form, which is exactly what I don't want. I almost never, I get recommended things that are coming up, that are being pushed to me by a studio, or that are being sold, or so forth. I don't want that either. I want, maybe I'm very, very unique, but I'm wondering, what you see as the major problems in this idea of getting consumers to be able to find what they want quickly, easily, and without it being too annoying that feel that they're being attacked by advertisers or by retailers.
I'm just going to take a quick shot at that. So we work with the Digital Smiths, the Think Analytics, the Ginnies, the Filter, all the recommendation engines. Again, ecosystem mapping IDs. We have APIs so that our clients can easily say, you have that ID, we have this ID, can I get the trailer for it? What I think, you have 600,000 movies, I think, in the Rovi database. That's about 120, 130 years of content. I don't think I'll live that long to watch that kind of content. You also have limited catalogs in availability. So if you're on Netflix, they don't have 600,000 films available. What they do that I like is I search for something, it's not there. But they say, if you'd like that, I do have this. So you also have what's available. And then for you, how much data are you going to give to these recommendation engines about what you like? The more, the better they're going to help you. But you said, I'm concerned about privacy, I don't like advertising. Good, to stay off the internet. As the Google guy said, you want privacy, don't go on the internet.
Go dark.
Ad supported, she's not going to be able to keep her business going and do all the stuff they do if you're not watching ads. So that being said, I think you have to kind of open up and then let the data out there. If you're go and you say, I don't like this, then they'll say, okay, I won't show you that again. But I think you're seeing, how does a user come in? Do they want to browse? We see a ton of browsing going on, where people come in from one angle. What's my mood? I like Brad Pitt. I want to see Brad Pitt move. Where do you start? And that, as a user, we have to, as an industry, be able to say, wherever you're coming from, we'll start there with you and bring you in. So if you like, let's say, Fight Club, I'm probably going to show you another Brad Pitt movie, another Fincher movie. Those connections are pretty easy, director, cast, genre, those kind of things. But then it's the deep data. What did you do before? What were you looking at before? You didn't even know you gave us that data, but you did. And then how can we retarget you when you come back to us? So I'll let that.
Yeah, I mean, maybe Dr. Suck here, because we talked about this last night, gave the example of the training design algorithm. It would say, if someone said, what was it, the comparison, give me something that I like, Casablanca and Star Wars. What should I watch? Now, it's a great drinking bar question. Like, okay, what film would you recommend to someone who says that those two? And we talked about this, and a computer might spit out, I don't know, Star Trek episodes, but we probably don't want that if you want those two movies. Or might say, oh, Casablanca, that's World War II, whatever. Inglourious Basterds, that's a great World War II movie. Anyone who thinks they want to see something like Casablanca does definitely not want to see an Inglourious Basterds. Whereas, I mean, you can give the example that you gave personally, which I think was genius. For those two films combined would be, what was your, personally, you said?
No, actually, when we were talking about it, I was saying that the computer did recommend the Star Trek.
Star Trek, right. But
yeah,
personally, what did you say? Because you gave as your personal, remember? Because I thought it was a genius combination. Romance in space. No romance, but like a full, unrequited love in space, which is Solaris, which would be a great combination of those two movies.
Barbarella.
Different type of romance.
Sure, that's difficult. Let me think a little bit about that. I think here the problem is, okay, I already know something then about your needs. You want to know something that is related to these things, and if I know about the content, as you said, that the one is a love story, the other one is like, yeah, it's like a Western movie, and the other one is with secret agents, Second World War II, and the stuff, and then I try to combine it, and then I can find things that have similar properties, similar attributes, and then of course I try to find this connection. And the thing is, Rhodes already mentioned that for almost any, let's say, major feature movie, we have so many data available in public databases. So starting with the Internet Movie Database, there is then Freebase, DBpedia, Wikipedia, Wikidata, and so on, and also Movie Lens or Rotten Tomatoes and stuff like that. And there you get lots of information about the content of the movie, not only who is the actor, who is the director, where is the setting, the location, and stuff like that. You also get, for example, from Wikipedia, there is this nice thing that people in Wikipedia try to organize everything in kind of categories. And of course, they come up with much more creative things like only Western or science fiction. They really have these let's say, small, focused, very specific things, science fiction movies with zombies where the woman will drink or drown in a sea and stuff like that. So really rather particular things. And if you organize your data in that way, and then you can look in such a small particular category where you would not come up for yourself, and then you will get possibly a good recommendation out of that. So this is one of the strategies, for example.
Can I just jump in to kind of track on Wikia? The CEO of that at a conference mentioned that his users are creating more data about Star Wars, that Lucasfilms was like, you know what, there's no way in the world we could create this much data about Star Wars. We'll just link to them. And I think this whole user, created data also has high value, because there's no way individuals or people like us, companies, can create that much data that a Wikipedia can by using crowdsourcing.
And how much can be animated or automated, and how much has to be curated? I mean, how good are the machines, and how good will they be? How much do we need people like Moviepilot to direct us or curate what's coming in? Or how much can you design an algorithm with your students and say this will determine what people want, and we'll push the things to them?
Yeah, the thing is, the more we know about you, the better is the recommendation. So, and if I do not want to give away information, then we must take the best try. And many times it's not possible, or it's really, really expensive to go all the way to let's say, to generate the best recommendation for 100% of all cases. Sometimes it's sufficient to say, okay, we do 80-20. If we can serve 80% of the customers, they are satisfied, that's okay. That's fine with us, because the other 20% are much too expensive. And for example, if I don't have any data about you, and yesterday we talked about that, what if I don't know from which point to start? So if we do not have Casablanca in Star Wars, if we have nothing, so the customer is completely new, comes to your store, and what do you recommend? So the first choice probably would be, okay, I will recommend the things that is most popular. But then, of course, also there is the chance that the customer already has seen this and thinks, that's boring, I know this already. So you have to come up with something else, but how to do that? Of course, you can make a random choice, but if he likes this or not, it's also random. So for this, for example, you can also look at Wikipedia. We had this already. If you look at the Wikipedia start page, they also try to raise your interest somehow. And one thing is, of course, yeah, they are doing something like a popular article. And the other thing is, okay, the only thing they know about the customer is the date and time when he really arrives at Wikipedia. And then based on that, we could do very interesting recommendations. So I looked it up for today, what happened today in history, for example. So we have November 20th. And this is really interesting. What kind of movie recommendation would you give for this date? And I read that on November 20th in 1820, a ship called the Essex was rammed and sunk by a gigantic sperm whale. Yeah, and as you might know, there is a film coming up right now, taking off exactly this event, and of course also this story was the template for Herman Melville to write his famous Moby Dick, and then of course you can do immediately recommendations out of that.
Is that something that you see used? Do you see like moments, things like that? Just like,
well, today Mike Nichols died. Mm-hmm. So I can guarantee every trailer we have of Mike Nichols films will take a bump. Mm-hmm. Joan Rivers died, and we had a bump. Robin Williams, it was huge. So it's kind of sick, but yes, there is a Deadpool out there, and celebrities passing does create, or if they do something in the news, then their movies will take a bump. But that's, another facet of data. So we do something with our data, just our own proprietary data, where we have on our consumer-facing site a faceted search. So you tell us where you want to start based on our data. Genre, I only want to see sci-fi films. Okay, start there. I only want to see sci-fi films that were made between 2000 and now. Okay, start there. So much like an Amazon browsing experience, it all begins with the metadata. We're not going to go anywhere without having metadata, and that could be big. Big data. Okay, I used it. I'm buzzword compliant now. But if it's a knowledge graph that we're building about you, so we can personalize those recommendations, and that means that you have to give us information about what you like and what you don't, and then we have to watch your activity. It's creepy, I know, but something we were talking about is...
Yeah, that's something what you get to. I mean, how far can you go with, because you both have user bases, dealing not directly with companies, but dealing with individual people or your trusted users. How far can you go in the gathering of data? Does it bother people at all? Do you ever get pushback saying, this is too far, you gave me a recommendation, I didn't know you knew this about me, and so forth?
That you do like Madonna films.
That's exactly. That's my secret, my dark secret.
I think this is one of the biggest problems that content providers are facing right now. That people want personalization and personalized recommendations, and but don't want to pass on their private data. So this is like kind of the dilemma, and but. I was just thinking that when you start, because we just discussed how do you start passing on a recommendation if you don't have anything. So this is what we're doing. And when a user enters the system for the first time, you just have very few seconds to catch his or her attention. So therefore, a very generic experience, by just randomly, or curated content or recommendations that you offer, could be a massive bummer. So that's why we try to overcome this situation by offering a Facebook Connect option, and like passing on information based on preference the user has passed onto Facebook or other connected services in the past. It doesn't necessarily have to be like something a movie I liked. Let's say, what was the example? Desperately Seeking Susan. Yeah, if I for instance, would have liked this on Facebook, it doesn't have to be necessarily the movie itself, but we just basically get insights into the whole profile of a Facebook user. So, for instance, which kind of matches this example very well is that using our technology, I just saw from reading out my social profile that I have a heavy preference for drama and comedy from the 70s and 80s, and apparently I really liked Desperately Seeking Susan on Facebook, and movies like 16 Candles, Breakfast Club, something like this, like teenager, high school comedies, stuff like this, and a lot of Woody Allen from the 70s. So based on that, you can give recommendations for these categories or years, like 70s, 80s, 90s, so more contemporary stuff. So something that is tailored to or catering to the needs and the demand of a user. So it's therefore it's kind of a dilemma. There is no personalization without passing minimal private information.
And is there no curating? I mean, what about the curating aspect? I mean, how much demand is there for, because I would just personal recommendations, the ones I trust the most, the people I think are very, very good and even know more about film, and those are the ones I want to hear from. I don't really want people to tell me what I liked or what I used to like. I like someone to tell me, you haven't seen this, but you're going to love it. Right. Not just because I know what you like, but because I know what's good. And this is something you would have never thought of, but you'll like it.
Yeah, I totally understand what you're saying, because we are in conversation with the movie lovers actually every day. And since we built up the Moviepilot community, it has been a dialogue actually. So they were helping building up the website, the product with us together, meaning they helped and were actually, that was the first step, asking them, so let us know about your movie taste, let us know what you know, write comments, rate, recommend. And then when it came to, okay, we want to find a business model, and one is to work with the movie industry together and give them also property to advertise for their movies. We want to do that actually perfectly, to match it. Sometimes it doesn't fit. And we heard this from the community also. Oh, I got a recommendation for a movie by an ad, which really doesn't fit. Can you become better there? So, and we opened our ears and talked back to them. And we try together with the movie industry. We need more. We build up more property now. The community becomes bigger, and we work on that, and we truly do. That's something very interesting. Also on the ratings or the recommendation, right? We are. Develop the recommendation engine steadily, and our team in the development, they have a look at if there is something like when you get a recommendation to a movie by 9 out of 10 points, so highly recommended. You should see that in the movie theater or on VOD platform right now, and then you come back and rate. That was a 4 instead of a 9. Then there's this technology part of where we say, oh, there's something going wrong. What could be, right? Mm-hmm. And on the other hand, it's something. Oh, that's really new. Probably the taste changed, right? And it kind of has to shift. So I think it's the combination of there is a person looking at those data and tries to understand why it's not working right now, or try to understand what's behind that, right? So it's kind of the combination of technology, and then the human being, the brain, tries to understand and analyze that, and then turn it again in digital media into best way something which works automatic very, very well. So I think when you were asking about the advertisement, the best advertisement, where are we right now and where can we be in the future? I think it's a working together of the consumer actually with his data and kind of being critical, but also open to help the platforms and also the industry to become better in advertisement, because the industry also wants to know, how can I communicate with you that you are open for me to let me recommend you something, right? So that's what we also try to do, to link the community and the respect of you having your own taste and your own opinion to the industry who wants to offer something, or not only the industry, also a movie maker, right? A producer who says, hey, I want as many people as I can who are likely to know the movie, to see the movie, to know that it is there, right? So that's what we try to do, and mix it, the technological development with the understanding.
Well, I've been dominating this very much, but please, questions from the audience. If there's, get a mic back here. Just 1 second as he comes down.
Hi, my name is Sandra Ehlermann. I have a screenwriters and film producers internet platform in Germany. When I read the paper, I know I'm going to read a lot of stuff that I wasn't expecting. I also know that I'm going to, there's a lot of writers whose opinion I never agree with, but I'm looking forward to reading them anyways, so I can be annoyed about them. The paper is curated content, and I enjoy being surprised. Mm-hmm. You've all been talking about how important it is to find a recommendation that you know somebody's going to like. But what about the randomness of the obscure recommendation that might surprise you? How much is that part of your algorithms? I mean, it has to be to some extent. Please let me be surprised by your recommendation,
Well, that's, somebody like him. Oh, yeah. Good luck.
The
traditional recommendation engine?
engine?
Oh, my gosh. You better have something up your sleeve, because he's not going to be happy otherwise. I don't know. For algorithms, there's almost, as we talked about, curating and editorial. So we can make these connections. Rotten Tomatoes has a large amount of critical reviews that it places, it aggregates and then places a rating based on that title. So you could see other movies that have these, again, metadata is very big about movies. There's a lot of elements. So I'll give an example, Ginning. It's mood-based. Mm-hmm. You go in and you start out saying, I want to see a revenge movie with lots of violence, and boom, and it'll throw things at you you didn't never heard of, and I'm in a happy mood, and then some other key element. So there's a mood-based, and some of this is part of the knowledge graph that Rovi is writing. Digital Smiths does something interesting where they say in a living room setting, well, it's one thing when I'm sitting there, but how often are just you sitting there? Let's say I'm sitting there with my daughter. They'll say, they start up with profiling. So they'll have a profile of my daughter, they'll have a profile of me. Then I could say, the two of us are in the room together. Recommend something that both of us would like. So these are the ways that you can take that data and blend. And then you're going to get these these non-obvious recommendations.
I'd like to add something to that. I think something that you just mentioned or pointed out, sitting together in the living room and watching, like a Saturday night, and you want to watch something together with your daughter, so something age appropriate. And so I think very important is the situation, circumstances, like the consumption situation. So if you don't want to just go to the movies and want to be surprised, something you haven't seen before, or you just want to sit on a couch, lean back, and be entertained by something you might have seen before. So this is really important. So I think, if, there's a good example. Every year I get tickets for the Berlinale Festival in Berlin, and I never read the reviews before that, or what people say about it, just so I will be surprised. But if I just want to be, let's say, easily entertained on a Saturday night, and I want to just I think it's important to take the pain points out of this situation. So to give Rhodes something like within 5 minutes, a recommendation that is something that won't bore the hell out of him, sorry, but would also entertain his daughter. So this is like a completely different situation from like going to the movies, watch an art house movie, or just watch a rom-com or something like that.
And this because I think this leads to a question. Do any of your systems really take that into account? The person who wants to be surprised, wants to be confronted with something new and different that maybe they hadn't thought of before, that might not be as easy to read out of their data unless you actually knew the person?
love the idea of surprise me algorithm.
Yeah, I mean, we could do this. Like, just give me a random genre, something, surprise me. So we were just speaking yesterday about this, that actually for recommendations themselves, like the context, around the recommendation is really important. So who gives what recommendation? So something that you just also pointed out, that people who write a review on your platform are really passionate about movies. My friends, I think, luckily nobody's here of them, but I think they're way too lazy to write a recommendation, so they'd rather like something or put something on their watch list on Facebook or any other service. So something very easy. I think context is highly important to give good recommendations to explain to the user why he should watch something, or why it might not necessarily be interesting for him, but relevant, as my friend, like a friend on Facebook, has liked something. But I think if you're really into like a surprise, you wouldn't be so dependent on a recommendation. But of course we could do this. Just like give me like something very random, not fitting my graph, my profile.
I just want to say, not only is this movies, but we should include TV.
Sure.
And something we're expanding into is OTT or internet content. So we're looking at the makers of the world. Anything that's serial content, it fits very neatly into a TV database. Mm-hmm. So, we want to be able to see these things. I believe you're heavily involved with television content as well. Yeah. So it goes back to the Kevin Spacey thing. It's all about story, and that's the kind of stuff that we're tracking.
But I think, I don't know how your opinion is on that. From our side, this is really hard to put into a recommendation we offer you, be surprised. Because it's also probably on your mood differently per day, surprised in a happy movie or like. So we kind of decided to this push recommendations in regards of that we go for either a list of the weirdest movies of the 70s, or the movies with the strangest hairstyles in there. So we create topics like that, like more from the editorial side, to give you a hint of why is it going to be probably the surprise in that movie or content. Right now I personally experienced something very exciting. We launched in a beta phase Games Pilot a couple of weeks ago. And one of our main niches we will fill is that we can certainly give a recommendation from your film movie, based on your film taste and your film experience, actually, going on your recommendation for a game. Especially for women also, it's interesting. And we have, 45% of the Moviepilot community is very interested into games. So they are open to, and they're already rated a whole lot. And there are also a lot of females, playing games. And also me, I go more in there and see it as a recommendation. Wow, that's going to be a surprise when they see my recommendation. It's not online yet. We have to still collect some community, like the data, the ratings, yeah. But that's something, I think it implies that how the platform by itself can give a hint of what is the surprise going to be like by some description of This, for example, was it's now games. But it's hard, and I don't know, what do you say, Melissa, to really fill it into a system, like more than give it a randomness or something.
Okay, so in general, let me add the following.
Yeah.
So as you might have realized, to be surprised or to put surprise into recommendations is, of course, a topic of ongoing research. From a research perspective, to generate surprise or to use surprise is easily to quantify. So because surprise is the most unexpected, and you can quantify that. But the point is, you do not want to be simply surprised, you want to be positively surprised. So this is a huge difference.
Surprise.
And there, of course, is also, let's say, somehow the magic. Yeah. Definitely. And of course, I would be surprised by something completely different maybe than you. So you have to decide between the personal surprise and also, let's say, a general surprise and stuff like that. And you really can quantify these things. But to be able to do that, of course, you need to have information about the user. Otherwise, you only can go for something general in that case.
Maybe yes, here. Yeah. Front.
Thank you. My name is Issy Coppens, the marketing catalyst, and I have a burning question, because basically I understand it depends on which data I'm giving to you guys. It depends on the context that you can partly find. You can see the recommendations because of my friends and relationships and etc. And that's fantastic. Great. Oh, hold on. I'm the timer at the same time. Oh gosh. Okay. So no, we're nearly ready yet. So what about, we've been hearing this morning about all these metadata that we can collect from the script. So what is it if we have all the data with the context and the brands and the colors and the hairdos of the people there, and this is automatically delivered in the data of the film, and it's automatically delivered into your systems, guys, so that we would have the perfect thing, knowing everything about the user, the context, and also the movie. Is it something that you see happening, or is it totally futuristic and unrealistic?
Did you catch the earlier session this morning when they were talking about the way they're doing post-production now, or production in general, that you take a script and you can put that into a system so that all the details in a script go through all the stages of post-production and then are linked up to what lenses are used, what close-ups, whatever. That all metadata is all done through the entire production process, assisting in the production and post-production. But if you had that metadata, which would then be, as soon as the film is finished, it's all there, and that pushes into, say, your systems, would that be something that you see as a future?
First off, you would have to assume that every studio is set up to manage that and deliver it. You're lucky to get anything right in a similar format out of each studio. Sorry. Okay, the future is, we are set up to manage any kind of metadata because we're built on open data systems. We have APIs. If we knew the fields that we needed to capture, we could bring that in. That's not a problem. But, setting up a database, that's our specialty. We're a data company. But our challenge, if what we did was easy, it wouldn't be worth anything. So our challenge is working with the studios to make sure they give us the content so that we can get it broadly seen, and we create systems that are going to be used by other companies. That is, we work with 1,000 copyright owners. I don't wish that on anybody, and you got to manage all their expectations and their needs. I'm sure you know what that's like, and the marketing stuff is there, but I have trailers that are in terrible source material. Today we heard about the need for 6K. I'm not going to get that for trailers on certain films because they said, I don't care about that film anymore. I'm not going to remaster it. So for the trailer content, pay me and I'll do whatever you need. So we have a lot of studios all over the place, and it's hurting cats in a lot of ways.
Right. We have maybe time for two more questions. Anyone else? No? Yeah, in the back there.
Hi, I'm Toby from the University of Portsmouth. I might be a bit naive here, but is the data you're collecting being sold on as well?
All of us?
Yeah. And are there restrictions?
Proprietary data.
Are there restrictions on where you might be selling them on, or?
It's my data about these things. So, we're creating that. This is people, human beings entering stuff into a database. I have to pay those people, so I have to make money on that data that I'm collecting. I don't make money on the content. I make money on the services and the data. The trailers are free. It's the information about the trailers. It's the encoding. It's being able to deliver, to the Samsungs that we're on, or the iOS in, HLS, across all these chunk videos. We provide those kind of services around the trailer content. I'll let others speak.
So we monetize the platform by giving free the advertisement space around the content. Every user knows that, so that's something just also including targeting, but there are no personal data of any users which we give to anyone else. What we do is that we collect data and or sum them up to realize, okay, there's a lot of buzz, for example, on a certain topic or a high engagement. And this information in general, we use to counsel actually in campaigning or do our own marketing campaigns. But there's no personal data of any users we transfer to anyone else.
Tweek.
Well, we just, it's based on user permissions. So it's basically dedicated to a certain system or service. So we do not only what I mentioned earlier, we're not only doing social recommendations, but also content-based and user-based recommendations. So this is kind of stored, but only used for recommendations on a dedicated system. So it's not passed on. We monetize through the service itself, passing out recommendations.
Maybe one more question? Otherwise, I'll ask a final one myself. Any? No? Well, then maybe also the future question, but slightly different. What do each of you, briefly, see as the main problem in this issue that we're talking about, in the finding the right stuff and giving it to the right people, the masses out there? What do you see as the main problem facing us right now, and how do you hope that it will be resolved in the next, say, 2 to 3 years?
You want me to start?
Yes, well, we either, anyway.
I'll go ahead. Well, isn't this the holy grail, the search and discovery? We're all trying to find that perfect bounce of, UI, convenience. Consumers can find this stuff. So it's really for us, we sell swords in the war. And we love that there's a battle, but we're also seeing a lot of consolidation. When the first iPhone came out, knock, knock, knock on our door all day long, app developers with all these great ideas. Well, the fallout has happened. There's winners, there's losers. So we're not seeing as many app developers at our door trying to create the new movie app when a Flickster has 50 million downloads. Good luck beating that, or an IMDb, these established brand names. So there's a lot of competition, but it doesn't mean there can't be more innovation. And I think, as we've seen this kind of slowdown of innovation, I don't think the spirit is lost. Nobody has the perfect target, the magic bullet to this question. And for us, that's great. So I'll leave it at that.
I think a real big or the biggest problems, now there is a little more than danger that I hear or think we have to call out for ourselves, and actually you named it also, that we all don't forget, as well as movie makers, publishers, developers, to listen to the consumer and actually to ourselves, and kind of be open for a discussion to develop the whole industry with each other. So, meaning of there are so many movies now in this topic coming out per year, to still have the open ear for a smaller one, to make them live and have the option to be seen, and not like the whole business model cannot work because the industry or the publishers are not listening to how to find the target group for the small ones, right? So, and correlating to the speed digital media is developing. We are all developing, and we are all pushing on it. You know, the speed. I think it's always important to listen. What's the main message of the, for instance, product or movie or content piece, and also to of the consumer, and bring that align it in the speed of the development for advertisement, and speed of development of publishers or content websites or products.
Claudia, what do you see as the main problem in the moment?
I think, just like from where we're coming from, privacy concerns and hesitation towards passing private information. So I think just from my experience, like talking to clients in Germany, especially in Germany, I think the privacy concerns are way different from like on a international basis or in the US. But I think, especially in Germany, the benefits of personalization and recommendations. So why should I agree to like passing private information to get like a good experience is not communicated and very well to users. So that's why a lot of users refrain from actually activating these kind of solutions or like inside their systems, and therefore just get a very generic, uninspiring experience. So this is something
that has to change. What, because you have a sort of futuristic view, you're working on the latest technology with your students. What is coming? What do you see that will solve a lot of these problems? What is the sort? Is there a magic bullet that you're developing in your lab? What do you see as the most hopeful of the various projects I'm sure you're pursuing?
Let's start the other way around. What I see is the biggest problem. Mm-hmm. So if you are living in a world where you really rely on the recommendations that systems generate for you, he who controls the recommendations, of course, controls what you are seeing. Mm-hmm. So it's the same like the Google effect. Everything what is not on Google is not there in the world anymore. Mm-hmm. So in Google, it's even worse. Everything that is on page 2 and beyond is not there. Mm-hmm. So with the recommender system, it's something similar. So what I intend, also what we intend to develop, is not, let's say, something like a linear recommendation, but something like a guide that helps you to explore the contents of these huge video archives. And this guide must be rather flexible. It must learn together with you. It must know you. And then in the end, like, you know, the good old librarian who know what you were reading would give you some good recommendations, of course. And from that point on, you could dive deeper, and you probably you can uncover these hidden treasures you're looking for.
Hopefully, the brave new world will come. Well, thank you so much. Please, a round of applause for our panel. Oh, great. Well, thank you so much. Thanks. Great. Thank you very much. Also, we have a group, another group in Grin.